to another episode of the Unwanted Opinions podcast. Jay and I are back here on a Tuesday. Gonna do another mock draft for you guys. This one's gonna be a little different than the previous two. I guess you could say we've technically done two. You heard Jay and I do one which we think is gonna happen, and then also Jay and I went back and forth on just kind of like a fantasy draft style. We just picking our favorite players, how we would build a team, blah blah blah. What we're going to do tonight is we're actually going to go in draft order in the first round, 1 through 32, and we're going to take players who we would take if we were the GM of that team or the owner, whoever is making those picks. So that's how we're going to do it tonight. I'm going to go with the odds. Jay's going to do the evens. But before we do that, Jay, I wanted to ask you, have you watched that Last Dance documentary yet?
No.
You need to watch it.
I was supposed to watch it last night.
Yeah, did you have them recorded or something?
No.
Oh.
Just figure it out. Stream it from somewhere.
Just find it
You
somewhere.
You can always find it, man.
On the line.
On the line.
It's good. It's good so far. I don't want to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil it for you.
How many parts is it?
There's 10 total parts, but there's only 2 episodes that have been released so far.
Gotcha.
The next 2 come out on Sunday, episodes 3 and 4, and then I think they're doing it. I think they skip a week and then they do 2 more. They're doing it two episodes every night, like every other Sunday or something like that.
And you like what you've seen so far?
Yeah, it's good so far. I've got just thoughts on it for sure. But, I mean, as I think you probably have seen on every social media platform, it's sparked the debate, of course, between LeBron and MJ again for the 1 millionth time.
Yeah.
Like nobody's ever discussed that before. Like, my God.
I don't know.
Everyone has their opinion.
Yeah, and the people who believe MJ is the GOAT have the wrong opinion.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. I think a lot of people know that we both think LeBron's the GOAT. So
I don't even know how it's arguable.
You're not going to get my argument right now because that's definitely a topic for a different day because that can take all day.
Yeah, I was going to say we could go all day on that.
All right, let's just start. All right, obviously, as we know, the Bengals have the number 1 pick. Jay and I are just kind of going to go through. Like I said, we're going to pick who we think we would take, or who we would take if we're the GM of this team, who we want, whatever. We're just going to kind of go through, pick our player, and say why we would take them, why they fit there, blah, blah, blah. So, all right. Bengals are on the clock. I'm going to take Joe Burrow with the number 1 pick. I do think he is the best quarterback in this draft. I also think he, out of all quarterbacks, has the best chance to survive this franchise because
a bad team.
I'm the GM right now. I know that my owner doesn't like to spend a lot of money, get a lot of talent around this guy, so we have to draft really well. We have to sign mid-level free agent kind of guys. I know that they actually kind of went out and spent a little bit of money more than I think the Bengals really are ever used to doing. But you think about it, we got our first overall pick from last year, the 11th overall, with Jonah Williams coming back at left tackle, so that'll shore up our offensive line, get a young quarterback in there. We've got Joe Mixon. We've got some good pieces defensively, but we just need to build through the draft, and you can't miss on quarterbacks because you saw our team in our division, the Browns, who for years had a lot of talent but no quarterback, so we'll see. So Joe Burrow is the pick.
I would do the same thing if I was the Bengals. Like you said, I think of all the quarterbacks, he can do the most with the least amount.
And it's not even that. I just think it's more of he just has that personality where I think he can fit anywhere. Whereas I think, like a guy like Justin Herbert, I think he is going to need a certain coaching staff and maybe a little bit different system than Joe Burrow because, I don't know, I just think his personality is a little different than Joe's.
He's the best quarterback in this draft.
Agreed.
He's the number 1 pick. The Bengals need a quarterback. I think it's a no-brainer. At number 2 with the Washington Redskins, if I was GM, I would be fielding all calls trying to trade out of this pick.
I would
trade down just a couple spots, but that isn't what we're doing here. If I'm making the pick, I'm taking who I think is the best player in this draft in Chase Young. Even though they have needs elsewhere, if you can't get out of that pick, I think it's too early to move off Dwayne Haskins. You have a new head coach. I get that Ron Rivera did not draft Haskins, so he has no ties there, but you just picked Haskins last year, and let's be fair. He was on a very crappy team on a team that they fired their head coach. They have a backup in like basically a reserve coach in there who knows he's not having the job after this year. No one's playing for him. The team gave up. The talent around him, you're relying on a 36-year-old Adrian Peterson. Is that how old he is?
I don't know. He's
34,
he's
35,
in his 30s.
36, way past his prime. Your top pick at running back and Darius Geis hasn't panned out so far because the dude can't stay on the field. Your best wide receiver was a mid-round pick from the same school as Haskins and Terry McLaurin, who no one expected to be number one coming out of Ohio State, and he turned out to be your best receiver. And honestly, when McLaurin's your number one, it's probably not that good of a sign that your receiving core is that great. Maybe that's taking something away from him. He shouldn't have been the number one receiver on that team as a rookie like he was last year.
Yeah, he's pretty good, though. I think he's a lot better
That's
than
why I wanted to
I thought he was
going
to be.
So, he shouldn't have been the best wide receiver on that team year one.
Probably not.
So when he was, that was a bad sign. Their offensive line, Trent Williams was out. Their offensive line wasn't that great to begin with. Their defense actually is pretty good, and I see them being a lot better under Ron Rivera.
Their front seven is good.
So why not add Chase Young to get the for sure player in the draft? Someone who's going to demand double teams, and then are you going to double Deron Payne as well? Are you going to double Kerrigan? What about Montez Sweat, who you just drafted last year? Jonathan Allen. I think this allows them to move off Kerrigan earlier, seeing as how I think he's 31 now, and still have an elite,
and
maybe
I still
the
think
best
he's
front.
owed quite a bit of money. So if they get their defensive line, I mean, all would be on rookie contracts, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But
to me, it's just taking the best player available. Even your head coach loves defense. You know Rivera's going to use this guy in multiple ways, and he's just going to go off for double-digit sacks every year on this defense, especially with the talent around him. So you already got your quarterback that you can't give up on just yet. You've got needs all over the offense, but I think this is too high to pick any of the running backs. I think this is too high to pick a receiver when this receiver class is loaded and you can get another one later on in the draft. The tight end class, this is way too high to pick a tight end. You could argue taking a tackle. I wouldn't argue against that, but I just think when you have
that would
someone
be the
as
next
good as Chase Young
position who they
I would
could
take
take, which would make
tackles.
sense, would be a left tackle because there's 4 really good ones in my opinion. But I don't think he's a guy you pass up. I just saw today that they were taking calls for that number 2 pick. I think I don't know why that just came out today. I feel like I've seen that multiple times, like weeks ago. But yeah. All right. Number 3, Detroit, the Lions. Now, if you heard a few weeks ago, Jay and I when we did this, I said, if I was the Lions, I would take a quarterback here, and I'm trading Matthew Stafford. Because even with Matthew Stafford, we don't have a good enough team to compete for, maybe not even a playoff spot because our roster's really not that good. Our defense is awful.
Like Stafford.
What's that?
But agreed. I said I wanted it to be known me and you both like Stafford.
I think on a really good
team,
he's going to get him like 7 to 9 wins because he's just really good. But if he was on such a better team, man, he would be a really, really good quarterback. I have no doubt in my mind. He's carried this franchise for a really long time and he just got the shit kicked out of him for years, and he still just keeps coming back. But seeing as how they're not going to do that, I'm not even going to float that scenario because I've done it before. Right here.
Good. This is what you would do as a GM.
Hey, man, but what am I going to say? I'm trading Matthew Stafford to the Patriots for their 23rd overall pick.
No, but you could just say I'm taking a quarterback right here, and then we'll figure out the trade for Stafford later. Call your shot. Take your quarterback.
All right, you talked me into it, Jay. All right, yeah, I am the GM right now.
If you were the GM, do what you would want to do.
I'm taking Justin Herbert here. I'm taking the successor. I think, like I said, your roster really isn't that good. You need a lot of time. You got to fill this team out. Take a young quarterback here. Trade Stafford. We'll figure out the rest depending on, because I think we can probably at least get a first-round pick for the guy right now. I think he's only 29. I think he's still probably got 6 to 7 years left at an elite level. So I'm building around Justin Herbert, and I'm going forward with that because I do think it's Detroit. It's not really, it's a bigger size market than maybe where he's from in Eugene, but I think he'll fit nicely there. Get him a new coach because I'm going to fire Matt Patricia for sure.
I don't blame you.
And then I'll just build my defense
there, but I like where your head's at. If, like you said, this roster's not good enough to win with Stafford right now, and it's probably not going to be over his tenure. On top of that, your coach is coaching for his life. As a GM, are you making this move in hopes that he wins right away and your job is safe, or playing devil's advocate here?
Well, if I have,
they're probably wanting to win right now to save their ass.
So I've taken over for Bob Quinn. So I just signed
you've already replaced him.
I just signed a new 5-year deal. So
you're in stone. You ain't
I've
going
got
nowhere.
some time for this guy to win because no, our roster isn't good enough for a rookie quarterback to come in and win, take us to the playoffs. I don't expect that, but I'm taking my guy here to lead us eventually in 2 to 3 years when we start to build up this team. Rodgers gets old. He's out of the division. The Bears still haven't figured out their quarterback position. And Kirk Cousins also, if neither of those two teams find their successor at quarterback, we got the youngest and best quarterback in the division.
All right. It's like, again, I would not do that, but you love Herbert. You're a little higher on him than me. So
I think Herbert can be a star.
I understand the reasoning in it, and I'm not going to hate it because you have to take your quarterback if you believe he's a franchise guy.
Absolutely.
Because without a franchise quarterback, you're not winning shit in this league. That takes me to number 4, the New York Giants. I've taken over for Dave Gettleman. He is fucking gone. He is out of the building. We're trying to win now.
I think a lot of Giants fans might want him going.
Some of the pieces that the Giants have. I was a big proponent in Dexter Lawrence, who they drafted last year.
He was good.
He turned out to be really freaking good. Yeah. They have some pieces on that offensive line. They've got a stud running back in Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones, to my surprise, outplayed all expectations that I had of him last year. I think the jury's still out, but I will be the first to say I did not believe he could do some of the things and win some of the games that he won last year. That he went out and just he played. I think he had multiple games with 4 touchdowns.
He was a lot better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, he outperformed what I believed the Giants overdrafted him at. So as the new GM, I got to protect the dude. I know we have needs all over the place. I know you are at number 4. You still got who I think is a lockdown corner and Jeffrey Okudah staring you in the face. I think you have a transcendent linebacker and Isaiah Simmons staring you in the face. But if you can't keep your quarterback upright, Daniel Jones had fumbling problems last year. When he got hit, the ball came out. If he keeps being hit, you're going to keep losing the ball. So in order to protect the quarterback, I'm taking Tristan Wirfs here, who can play all over. I think they still have some hope that Solder can hold up at left tackle. Their right tackle, to me, is a big need. And Wirfs could play there and then swap over to left if he needs to. He could play inside at guard. We talked about his athleticism that he showcased at the combine. The dude's a freak. And I don't know what it is about Iowa. Kirk Ferentz, that program teaches their linemen how to play. They come in ready. All their players come in buck strong, ready to go. I'm taking Tristan Wirfs. I'm going to protect my investment in Daniel Jones.
All right, I like it. All right, then we go to 5 for the Dolphins now. I got a lot of picks to play with here.
Yes, you do.
Hold on. No. Wait, hold on.
What did you just get a notification on?
Oh, well, apparently Rob Gronkowski just got traded to the Bucks for a 7th. Rob Gronkowski and a 7th to the Bucks for a 4th.
Wow.
Just right
Breaking
now.
news. They got him for a 4th.
Wow.
And right before the pod, you came on and said you didn't think Belichick would take anything less than the 1st.
No, I didn't.
Damn.
Wow. That's surprising, honestly.
That is surprising. Now, what are they going to – I think that for sure means O.J. Howard's out of there.
For sure. They were looking to try and deal him like a week ago, I saw. Wow.
I don't know why Belichick didn't. He might have, but try and get O.J. Howard in that deal.
Maybe he didn't want him.
Maybe. That's crazy. Breaking news. Gronkowski back in the league on the Buccaneers with his former quarterback.
One of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Let's keep giving Tom Brady reasons why he should succeed, and then we'll just tear him down after the season.
Yeah, because he's got no excuses now. I never want to hear the excuse they had no weapons this year. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Gronk. And
Cameron Brate and possibly O.J. Howard.
Yes, I think O.J. will be out of there. But, yeah, he has no excuses. Absolutely zero because he's got all the weapons in the world.
I saw you look down at your phone and then stutter and then take a second and then
because at first I was like, is this just like Barry McCockiner as Adam Schefter just saying, "Hey, trade it to the Bucks." I mean, because he likes to do that and he gets a lot of people with it. But no, it wasn't. It was actually Schefter. So I will believe that one. All right, let's get back to this. So 5 Dolphins.
I'm interested to see what you're going to do with the Dolphins here.
Yes,
they desperately need a quarterback.
They do desperately need a quarterback, but they also need a lot of other positions. They don't have a good offensive line. I don't like their running back situation. Obviously, I'm not taking a running back here. I think you could use a pass rusher. Hell, I mean, whatever happens with Xavier Howard, I think you could use. I mean, you could use a corner. You could use a guy like Isaiah Simmons, who plays a hybrid safety linebacker type. You could use a left tackle. I think there's a lot of things you can do here because, as you know, I don't think Tua's going to be a wildly superstar like a lot of people think, and you think that as well. But
Agreed.
This is a team that I don't think he really can go and succeed at. I just don't see it. I think they have too many holes. I think their offensive line's bad. I don't think they have the right coach to.
Yeah, why bring in an injury-prone quarterback to a place where he's going to get killed?
Yeah. I'm gonna take who I think is the best offensive tackle and try and shore up the offensive line because when we do get a quarterback, we don't have anybody to protect him. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take Jedrick Wills. I'm gonna take left tackle from Alabama. I know he played a lot of right at Alabama because Tua was a lefty, but I think he can play both left or right. But still, we've talked about this, how the right tackle position I think is becoming undervalued because pass rushers switch sides all the time. So I'm going to go with Jedrick Wills and try and shore up this offensive line that hasn't been good for years.
Okay, well, how we get to number 6 and Jeffrey Okudah and Isaiah Simmons are still there baffles me. I could take Tua here.
I thought about taking Isaiah Simmons for the Dolphins, but I just think with having a pick at 18 and 26, there's some other needs you could fill there in the first round.
Yeah. I could take Tua here. They definitely need a quarterback, but I'm going to be honest with you. I like Tyrod Taylor more for this team than I'd like an injury-prone Tua, and his upside and his risk don't do it for me just to draft him over Tyrod. Tyrod, after Aaron Rodgers, has the lowest interception rate, I think, in NFL history.
He probably has one of the lowest touchdown rates, too.
He took the Bills to the playoffs a couple years ago. I think the dude can play, and is Tua's ceiling higher if he stays healthy his entire career? For sure. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think he throws the ball better than Tyrod does. But Tyrod's proven he does not turn the ball over. He's proven he can win games in the NFL. He's been in that system now for this is going to be his second year, so he's familiar with the coaching staff.
And he played with Anthony Lynn in Buffalo. Anthony Lynn was the offensive coordinator, so it's really a very similar system to what he's used to his whole entire career.
And that Chargers roster is built to win now. They're not built for the future. So I know they have some young talent. Their biggest weakness the past couple of years has been just a solid linebacker. You remember they got exposed against, was it the Ravens 2 years ago or the Patriots? Someone ran right down their throat in the playoffs.
It was the Patriots. They ran for like 400 yards.
Because all their linebackers were hurt, and I put linebackers in quotations because they were hybrid safeties. They were
playing with like 7 DBs on the field.
Yeah. They just haven't had that linebacker since really, I don't even remember
Junior Seau in the 90s?
Yeah, but it was Seau, and then there was Sean Merriman, but they were both more edge guys.
Yeah, Junior Seau was a middle linebacker. Merriman was for sure an outside guy.
I know.
Junior Seau is one of the best middle linebackers of all time. He wasn't an edge guy.
Did he not play outside linebacker?
No. Your memory is serving you very incorrectly, my friend.
Okay, well, let's say Junior Seau then. That was when? 99?
The 90s. He was there from like, late 80s to early 2000s, I think.
I don't know. I'm not even start pulling numbers. I don't remember shit.
Then he went and played for the Patriots for a few years and whatnot. So, but he was with the Chargers the majority of his career. But yes.
All in all, let's circle back. I'm taking I keep calling him Jeffrey Simmons. Isaiah Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons was last year.
Yeah. I was going to ask when you were finally going to get to the pick.
I'm going to take Isaiah Simmons and give them a freaking linebacker that they can count on, especially. But their defensive line's pretty damn good. Their edge rushers. The middle of their defense, it could be short up a little, but I mean, last year they took Tillery out of Notre Dame, so they have high hopes for him. Just give me who some people are arguing is the best defensive player in the draft over Chase Young. and I get him all the way down at number 6, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, shit. I'm the Panthers sitting here right now. I've lost Josh Norman in the past couple years. I just lost James Bradbury, and Jeffrey Okudah just falls into my lap.
I don't think that's possible, but if this scenario
I didn't say that it was, because I think Okudah is going to be gone by then.
Agreed.
But how this is just aligning, Jeffrey Okudah is just sitting there at 7.
Have to.
They're with 30 seconds into their clock. I think they're calling Roger Goodell and saying we're taking
Okudah. 2 corners on their roster right now, I think,
because he's easily the best corner in this draft. It fills this huge need that we have, because I like our other corner in Dante Jackson. I think he played well as a rookie last year. And Isaiah Simmons is gone. We just lost Luke Kuechly, so we need a guy on our defense that we could count on, a position who I don't know how they're going to run a lot of their defense, because they got a new coach in. They don't have Rivera, so they're not going to, I don't think they'll run a lot of zone. They might run a lot more man, and Okudah can man up your best guy every single time. So there's the pick, Jeffrey Okudah.
Pretty easy pick.
I agree.
Takes me to number 8 at the Cardinals. I think they've got needs again at a lot of areas, but I really like what they did last year offensively with a lot of young guys. They invested a few picks in rookie wide receivers and brought in Kyler Murray just 1 year after drafting
Rosen
out of UCLA. So offensively, I like what they're doing. They have a lot of holes defensively, but again, I got to protect my quarterback and my investment, and Andrew Thomas might be the best left tackle in this draft from day one, as just plug and play. Dude's held up in the SEC for, I want to say, 3 straight years at left tackle. He might be my offensive tackle number 1, but I just like the versatility with Tristan Wirfs and how he fit earlier with the Giants. So I'm going to take Andrew Thomas here at number 8 and give Kyler Murray someone to protect his blind side.
Okay. I like it. Okay, that gets the Jaguars here at number 9. Now, we've got a lot of holes, too. Just traded away Nick Foles. We have Gardner Minshew. Okay. All right. You know what, man?
What?
I'm going to go here with the best receiver in the class. I'm going to plop CeeDee Lamb right for the take, and I think he's a guy who can help our young quarterback in Gardner Minshew. We're going to give Gardner 1 more year, see if he can do it. If he's not the man, that Foles contract will be off our books. We can either go sign somebody in free agency or we can draft another guy. But we're going to need a receiver for when we do get a young quarterback. And CeeDee Lamb, he's, I think, the best guy going up and getting the ball. I think he's really good after the catch. I think he's a good route runner. I just like everything he's made of.
I actually think right there I would have taken Tua. I think that's low enough to try, unless Jacksonville
that's where we're different, Jay.
Yeah, unless Jacksonville has plans of just straight up tanking and trying to get Lawrence or Fields next year. I think where I would start looking at taking Tua. The Browns don't need him, so I'm not going to take him there at 10. You could argue the Browns have the best top-to-bottom roster in the NFL. I think I would listen to that argument if you tried to make it. They don't have a ton of holes, but they have a few.
I think defensively now, they lost both their starting middle linebackers and Demarius Randall, their starting safety. I don't know if I would argue that they have the best top-to-bottom roster. Jarvis Landry's coming off of hip surgery. Their offensive line isn't very good. I think they do have a lot of talent, but I don't think they even have a top 5 roster in the league.
Really?
Yep.
I think top 5 is easy to make the case for. But either way, again, just like my last pick for the Cardinals, Baker's out here running for his life, and clearly he's not going to lay off the cheeseburgers, so his athleticism is going to be limited. And if Baker has all day to throw back there, he's pretty damn good. I think he showed you that his rookie year. He's accurate as hell with the ball, but when he's trying to throw off his back foot and run around, it just didn't come together last year for him. And until they can protect Baker, I know they've been in talks. They've been involved in the trade rumors with Trent Williams, but I haven't seen that happen yet. If I'm the GM, I think right here I'm taking a shot at Mekhi Becton. I know he's got a lot of bust factor to him, and he had that failed test at the combine. But if I read it right, it was for marijuana, which the NFL doesn't even care about anymore.
Yeah,
so
I'm
not too worried about it. He's a mountain of a man, and I'm going to try and protect my quarterback. And you've already had the top 3 tackles go. After Mekhi Becton, I think there's a little bit of a drop-off to the next top tackle. So I think if you're the Cleveland Browns, tackle might be your biggest need, and Mekhi Becton's there for the taking.
Good player. All right, number 11, the Jets. So we need this is sort of a tough spot because we're sitting at 11. We really need to protect Sam Darnold, but the top 4 tackles are gone. We also really don't have a lot of top-end talent offensively. Aside from Sam Darnold, we like Le'Veon Bell and Jamison Crowder, but other than that, Robbie Anderson's gone. I'm going to take the next best receiver off the board, Jerry Jeudy. I think, and the reason why I'm passing on Henry Ruggs over Jeudy is because I think Jerry Jeudy can come into the league and be a little more successful from day one with how good a route runner he is, how good of hands he has. And I think Ruggs just has a little bit more potential bust factor if he's going to be my number 1 receiver. And that's what he would be if he's on here. So Jerry Jeudy, but I think he does have that capability of being my number 1. So we're taking Jerry Jeudy, getting Sam Darnold, somebody to throw the damn ball to.
Good. He needs it.
Badly.
All the tackles went. Did you say that if the tackle was there, you would have taken them?
Absolutely, because
but
one of those top 4 tackles right there, we would have taken him if it was available, but just where we fell, the cards didn't lay out that way.
I like Jerry Jeudy. He might be my wide receiver 1 in this year's draft. So getting him at 12, getting him at 11. Yeah, finally, Sam Darnold has someone just capable of doing something more than running a go route. Okay, so finally, number 12, the Las Vegas Raiders. Tua is coming off the board.
That sounds so weird.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking Tua at 12 for a couple reasons. I believe this is one of the only spots, one of the very few spots that Tua doesn't have to play right away. One, Gruden is not getting canned. The dude he signed a 10-year deal. If he wants to sit Tua this entire year and they go 5-11 and then Tua comes in next year, Gruden's still going to be there. So they have the ability to sit Tua. I believe they like taking players from big-name schools. They showed that last year where majority of the past 2 seasons, John Gruden, most of his picks have been from like LSU and Clemson and big schools like that. Mm-hmm. So Tua fits that
I think
need.
They took 4 Clemson guys last year in the draft.
Yeah. So, and I believe John Gruden's never got to handpick his guy. He's won with fucking like Brad Johnson and who was Kent Stabler? Was that who was the?
No, Rich Gannon in Oakland.
Rich Gannon. That's
Kent Stabler. He was like in the 70s, man.
Yeah, I knew he won with some bum ass quarterback on the Raiders.
Hey, Rich Gannon, I believe Rich Gannon won a league MVP.
So he's one. Yeah.
Not saying he's an all-time great by any means, but
he can finally get his guy, and I'm not sold that Marcus Mariota is the answer for them.
Absolutely not.
You got another pick coming up here at pick 19.
Yep.
Tua is staring you in the face, man. Go take him. I'm taking a chance.
And see, this is a good spot for him because I think they have a really good offensive line. I think they have a good coach that will know what to do with Tua. I think this is actually a good place for Tua. I think
they can get him another receiver.
I think this is one of the better places he can succeed in his career. It's Vegas. It's going to be exciting.
Would you have
taken
a shot on him if you were the GM there?
I would have
at 12.
Yes, I would have.
I think people think I hate Tua. I don't. I think he is a very good leader. I think I'm starting to take back some of the comments I made that he was a me guy because doing more and more research, I've found that I think Tua is just like an incredible human being and people follow him and they want to be around him and he's good to everybody. But I just can't get over the injury. So taking him at 1 and taking him at 12, that's a pretty big difference.
And I never felt that way about him. I don't know him, so you can't obviously make that big of a judgment, but I just don't think he's going to be a superstar. And I think if you're planning on him to be a superstar and carry your franchise, I just think you're in for it because I don't think he's that quarterback. But again, like I said, I think Las Vegas, the Raiders, I think this is a good situation for him. And I think that's one of the better places he could go.
Yeah, and I don't think the Raiders would be as scrutinized picking him at 12. That was kind of my point. Like not. Last year, the Redskins picked Haskins. Was it 14 or 15? I think it was 15.
Yeah.
And there were talks about them moving off of him already, and no one really threw a fit about it. No one was like, they can't do that. That's way too early because they picked him at 15. So if Tua goes to them at 12 and doesn't succeed right away, and they start talking about moving off of him, it's not nearly as big of a deal. And then you couple that with the fact that they still have another pick at 19.
Yeah. So and you look at it this way, like I said, they've got a good offensive line. You're going to play with your former teammate Josh Jones, your running back at Alabama, who performed really well last year. I think had he not missed those final 2 games, Josh Jacobs, sorry. Yes, not Josh Jones. Josh Jacobs. If he maybe got hurt, I think it's maybe a little bit closer in the race for Rookie of the Year with Kyler Murray. But, I mean, he rushed for over 1,000 yards. Like you said, you've got to pick at 19. You can go get a receiver for Tua. So, like I said, I think this is a good place for him.
All right.
13, the 49ers. I'm taking who I think is the best next corner on the draft, CJ Henderson, because we, as good as our defense was last year, I can see as the GM that our weak spot is our secondary. And Richard Sherman's contract is coming off after this year. He's not getting any younger. We probably won't re-sign him. We have a lot of no-name guys who play in a really cover 3 system because our front 7 gets there so quickly. They just need to cover. But you saw in the Super Bowl when those guys got tired, our secondary couldn't hold up with the Chiefs receivers. So we got to get guys that match up with these receivers in the NFL. And CJ Henderson, I think, is the next best corner, and we're taking him.
Well, C.J. Henderson would have been my pick here at 14 for Tampa Bay had he been there. So now I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I want to do.
The top 2 defensive tackles are still on the board.
That's who I'm leaning actually right now because I know Kayvon Chason is probably the next best pass rusher, but I'm not sold on him just yet. I wouldn't – right here, I believe Derek Brown and Javon Kinlaw are both can't-miss guys, whereas I could see a bust factor in Chason. So – when I'm talking the entire defensive line, clearly pass rush is a need for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know they just franchised – what the hell's his name? Did he lead the league in sacks last year? Came out of Shaq Barrett.
Shaq Barrett, yeah.
I know they have him, but I think they only franchised him. I don't believe they gave him a long-term deal.
They re-signed Jason Pierre-Paul to like a 2-year deal, I believe, and Sue only to a 1-year deal. So a lot of those guys may be gone after next year.
Exactly. So I think I'm going to take my defensive tackle number 1, and this might surprise a lot of people, is Javon Kinlaw. I would take Kinlaw over Derek Brown, and that's what I'm going to do here.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, Javon Kinlaw, his nastiness reminds me a lot of Sue.
And I think what they need him for, he'd be more, because they already have Vita Vea. I think they need more of an inside pass rusher guy, and that's Javon Kinlaw over Derek Brown. I think Javon Kinlaw is the better pass rusher of the two, but I think Derek Brown's a better all-around player if you're talking run game, pass game, everything. All right.
I put you on the clock at 15.
I'm taking Henry Ruggs. I think he's still here. I've got my number 1 receiver in Cortland Sutton. Got a good tight end. Got 2 running backs. My offensive line is okay. I don't think it's great, but again, the top 4 tackles are gone, and Henry Ruggs is sitting here at 15 with great speed. We got a young quarterback. Give him another weapon. I'm taking Henry Ruggs right here. He's a guy who you always have to worry about where he is lined up on the field because of that speed, because of that deep threat. And like I said, I think if there is a potential bust in him, it's a team wanting him to be their number 1 receiver. And with having Cortland Sutton, he doesn't need to be Denver's number 1 receiver.
No, because Sutton came on. He showed you last year who he is. And
I told you, man, I wanted the Colts to draft him a few years ago.
Yeah. So Atlanta Falcons sitting here at 16. I'm a little torn on what I want to do here because they did just go out and in free agency they let go of Vic Beasley, but they brought in Dante Fowler, and did they re-sign another edge guy? It's slipping my mind. I thought they brought in someone else as well to go opposite of him. Either way.
Well, they still have Takk McKinley.
That's who I'm thinking of. Takk McKinley going opposite of Dante Fowler, and clearly they're expecting big things out of Fowler with the contract they gave him. So I'm going to go Derek Brown to plug him next to Grady Jarrett because he might be gone after this year.
I think they just signed him to an extension last year.
I thought they tagged him.
No, they gave him a lot. He got a lot of money, actually.
Well, they need somebody beside him.
Agreed. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure
that's not changing my pick. I'm taking Derek Brown. I just think he's going to be a disruptor in the middle for him.
Yeah, he signed a 4-year deal last year.
Who are you gonna double?
I'm not bashing your pick. I think it's a good pick.
No, I know. I'm talking out loud here.
Because that's who I was going to take if he was still sitting on the board for the Cowboys.
I think Derek Brown makes a lot of sense for him because they need a corner. But here I think it's you could look at someone like Christian Fulton, Trayvon Diggs, AJ Terrell, Jeff Gladney. But just to me, I think Derek Brown's just an all-around better player. He'd be higher on my board than any of those guys, and he fills a position of need.
All right. Cowboys sitting on the clock right now at 17. I'm taking Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. I think he's the best safety in this class. We've been missing that safety position for, basically since Darren Woodson was here in Dallas. We really haven't had a really good leader at safety, a great player who, again, played for Nick Saban, one of the best coaches, arguably of all time in college football, was his defensive captain. So I think he fills a big need for us right here. I'm taking him. We could go center, but I think it's a little early to go center because we just lost Travis Frederick to retirement. But I'm going to try and shore up our defense because it wasn't very good last year.
No, it wasn't. And like you said, they've been needing safety forever. Just can't seem to figure it out.
Nope, they can't.
When Jeff Heath is your best safety, that's a problem.
It's a major problem.
So at 18,
and we're fixing it right here.
The Dolphins are up with their second first-round pick. And at number 5, you gave them Jedrick Wills. You took Jedrick Wills over Tua. Tua fell to the Raiders at 12. I think at 18, I'm taking Jordan Love. I'm banking on his upside. You helped him out with your first pick by getting a very solid tackle, which was very much needed there. And you have holes all over the board as well. Why not try and get your quarterback of the future who has, people are comparing this guy to Patrick Mahomes. They always preface it by saying, clearly we're not calling him Patrick Mahomes, but he has Patrick Mahomes quality, talking about arm strength. And
I think it's the sleeper mentality. No one really knew of Patrick Mahomes before whatever. I think that's sort of, he reminds me more of Deshaun Watson than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I like that comparison a little more as well. But if you can get a B-plus version of Patrick Mahomes at number 18, I think that's a steal. So let's roll. I think he would fit very well with what the Dolphins are trying to do and the attitude they're trying to create. Big, strong quarterback, can throw the ball down the field. You got two big vertical receivers in Preston Williams and dude out of Louisville. What's his name?
Devontae Parker.
Yes, Devontae Parker. I like it. I just talked myself into it. Jordan Love, 18. And I think this is around the spot you're going to see him fall.
And I think it's fun because that's a place where he can, at least, if he needs to sit for a year, he can, because they've still got Fitzpatrick. Whatever the hell they think of Rosen, he's still there. I don't think I was clearly wrong on him. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. I just don't think he's that good. But Fitzpatrick is clear he can start for a whole season. He's there. He'll win you some games. He'll blow some games for you, but that's just who Fitzpatrick is, and he needs to be that bridge guy. It's basically been his motto of his entire career. He's been a bridge forever. So I think that's a good spot for Jordan Love. All right, 19, the Raiders. So you had the Raiders at 12, and you grabbed us Tua. So,
yep.
Okay. Now, me, personally, we signed 2 linebackers in free agent, Corey Littleton and Nick Witkowski, so I don't think we take a linebacker here. We picked up 2 edge guys last year in the draft, and Cleveland Farrell and Max Crosby, who Crosby actually outplayed Farrell, was better than him at the number 4 overall pick. I'm going to go receiver here, and a guy who I really like, I think I like him a lot better than you do, Justin Jefferson. I'm going to get Tua, I think a guy who can be a number 1 receiver in the NFL, get him a big guy who I think actually ran a better 40 than I thought he could. He was in the 4th. I think he was a 4.37 40 guy. And I just like his ball skills. I think he played really well with Joe Burrow last year at LSU. So getting to a number 1
I like
receiver.
Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to be a stud.
I do too. I just said I think I like him a little bit better than you.
So not a bad pick there. And I think wide receiver is one of their biggest needs. That takes me to 20 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Some guys that I wanted here are no longer available. I think right here, this defense is nowhere near what it was the year they took the Patriots to the AFC Championship and should have beat them. Then again, their offensive line isn't great either. Now they got a running back that's probably going to be out of there. So I could go a lot of different ways here.
And mind you, I took CeeDee Lamb at 9.
Yes, you did. I forgot they had 2 picks. So you already gave them wide receiver. I think right here then, that makes it easier on me on what I want to do. I'm still going to help Gardner Minshew, and I'm going to take the best interior offensive lineman in Cesar Ruiz.
Okay.
If he needs to play guard, he can play guard. If he needs to step in at center, just get this guy on the field. He's one of the few plug-and-play interior offensive linemen in the entire draft. I'm going to protect my quarterback again. And then who knows, if we do horrible and just have the worst record in the league, I don't have to make Gardner Minshew my starter next year. I can go draft Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, have a superstar quarterback in there, and then now you've already upgraded your offensive line and your wide receiver core.
Yeah, I like it. He'll shore up that offensive line. I think, like you said, he can play guard and center. I think he can play either of those positions. All right, 21 Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go Kenneth Murray here. I think a lot of people are talking them going receiver in round 1, but if a guy like Kenneth Murray is just sitting there on the board at 21, I think he's the next best linebacker behind Isaiah Simmons. I know some
that would
people
have been my pick as a defender for the Jaguars if I had to pick.
Some people prefer Patrick Queen to Kenneth Murray, but I just think Kenneth Murray's a better player. He's a linebacker who can run. He's a good tackler.
And he's like 20 pounds heavier and just as fast.
Yeah, so
longer.
I really like Kenneth Murray here. The Eagles, we just cut Nigel Bradham. All we really have is Nathan Gary. We just lost Malcolm Jenkins. We need some speed right up the middle to compete with the running backs and Saquon Barkley in our division, Ezekiel Elliott. So you name it. We got and the good tight ends that we've got in there too. So I think Kenneth Murray is a good pick for the Eagles to help shore up that defense because offensively, I think they're okay. I do. I think as long as Wentz is healthy, we're fine. Our offensive line's still good. We have high hopes for Miles Sanders.
Receivers.
They need one more receiver. I agree with that.
But this draft is loaded, and we will keep reiterating that.
We can get one in round 2.
I'm all for the pick. 22 at Minnesota Vikings. They have 2 corners on the roster. They've let everybody go.
Yeah.
Xavier Rhodes no longer there.
Man.
Trey Wayne's no longer there. They do have, I hope he steps up this year because I was a big proponent of his last year, Mark Fields out of Clemson.
Yes, you were.
Right now, he's their number 2 corner.
I think you ranked him as like one of your top 5 corners last year.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He is more of a slot guy because he's undersized, but he's fast and he can cover. So I'm going to give them another outside corner. I'm going to go Christian Fulton because they do play a lot of man defense as well. If it would have been just zone, like if they would have played a lot more zone, I probably would have taken Trayvon Diggs here. But with the defense they run, I just think Fulton's more of a fit. And, I mean, Diggs, they just let go of a Diggs and traded him out of there. Who knows if Trayvon would have wanted to be there after talking to. Is Stephon Diggs his brother or cousin?
They're brothers.
Okay, so, yeah, why would he want to go to a team that his brother hated and they traded away? So
well, he might not have an option.
True, but I just think it would have lingered and you could have had underlying issues there if you would have drafted him. So I'm going to take Christian Fulton here.
All right. 23, the Patriots. Man, this is I don't think their roster, I think defensively their roster, they can do anything with just about anybody. Offensively, I think this is too early to take one of the quarterbacks. I don't think we need a receiver as badly as maybe some other people think because apparently all I heard last year was we had no weapons for Tom. I'm going to go a guy who I think is perfect with what my head coach Bill Belichick likes to do, Zach Bond.
Vanessa. Good call.
I think he can do just about anything in a defense. I think we just lost Kyle Van Noy to Miami. He's, I think, a better, younger version of Kyle Van Noy. He can line up on the edge. He can play in the middle. He can blitz from anywhere. I think he's just a really smart player, great tackler, perfect Belichick guy. Zach Bond, linebacker from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think he's kind of getting slept on a little bit.
I think he's really good.
Let's see. What's that take? 24, New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
I believe their biggest unknown is at linebacker. They don't have a lot of holes in this roster.
No, they don't.
And you got the second best linebacker. Some believe Patrick Queen's the best inside linebacker here. I'm going to take him. I'm going to take Patrick Queen right here because I do think they need someone in the middle of that defense calling the shots or even kicking him to weak side linebacker because the dude can cover sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
I just think he's an upgrade over someone like Alex Anzalone on a defense that really doesn't have that many holes. That just went and brought back Malcolm Jenkins, and they got Janoris Jenkins and Eli Apple and Marshawn Lattimore on the outside. Defensive line, they just drafted pretty high last year. Kid from where did he go from?
You talking about Marcus Davenport?
Yes, Marcus
Davenport. That was 2 years ago, but yeah.
They still got Cameron Jordan. They still have who's a defensive tackle slipping my mind right now. Sheldon Rankins out of Louisville. I just think Patrick Queen fits seamlessly. I could go another wide receiver. I probably, if they wouldn't have went and signed Emmanuel Sanders, that's probably where I would have went just to get Brees another weapon. But I think bringing in Emmanuel Sanders is big time for a guy like Michael Thomas, and even for Emmanuel Sanders because Michael Thomas demands so much attention, and Brees doesn't really ever have like a number 2.
Yeah. All right, back to the Minnesota Vikings here, 25. Again, Jay mentioned he took a corner for him because they've got a lot of needs there. I also think they need an edge after they lost Everson Griffin. They need a receiver help with Stephon Diggs leaving. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go receiver, and I'm going to take Denzel Mims, receiver from Baylor. I think he's a guy he's a big body guy. He's got a lot of speed, running a 4.3 at the combine. I think he's got great hands. He may be more a bit of a developmental prop player, but I think with having a good system there and a play action type, but he's got enough speed to beat guys over the top. I think he fits perfectly in that offense.
That leaves me with some thinking here at number 26 with the Dolphins. So that we've gotten them their left tackle. We've gotten them their quarterback. Now where do I go? The second best edge rusher still on the board, which they could use. I could take the top running back here because clearly they have no running game whatsoever.
No, they do not.
Is it too early for that? All the top wide receivers are pretty well gone at this point. Do I still think there's very, very talented receivers that you could take here? Yes, I do. But I think you could also get those guys in the second round, the third round with all of their picks. I think right here, I'm going to go with my number 1 running back and start the run on running backs. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin.
Okay.
So you've got your quarterback, you've got your tackle, and you've got your running back now. All young, all in this new offense. They can all grow up learning together. And there's no better way to help your quarterback than a good run game. And if they just use what they have on the roster right now, it ain't going to work. I know they brought in Jordan Howard, but is he elite? Is he going to help him that much, or does he need a little bit of help? I think he needs a little bit of help, and I'm going to go Taylor.
All right. I like it. I think he's also the best running back in the class, so I don't have any problem with that. All right, Seattle sitting here at 27. Now, we've just got to find a way to generate some more pass rush. We were one of the few. We were one of the lowest sack teams in all football last year. We hope to bring Jadeveon Clowney back, but it's got to be at a good number that we all agree on. So, Jadeveon, wherever you are, come to terms. All right. I'm going to pick Yerter Gross-Matos from Penn State. He's the edge rusher. I just think he fits what we like to do up here in Seattle. He's a good edge rusher. He can also move a little bit on the inside. If we need some inside pass rush, he can go all over. I actually like his hands. I think he's one of the better. I actually like him a little bit more than Kayvon Chaisson. I think he's got more upside and less bust potential. I worry about Kayvon Chaisson just a little bit, but I'm going to take Gross-Matos. I think he's the better player.
Okay. Don't blame you there one bit. It leaves me at 28 with the Ravens, who I talked about top rosters. Will you argue that they are in the top 5 rosters in the NFL with not a lot of holes?
Yes.
I think their biggest hole, their glaring hole, would be at inside linebacker after they lost C.J. Mosley.
Agreed with that.
But the top 2 guys are gone, and there's a bit of a drop-off after him.
I think the top 4 guys are gone, and Isaiah Simmons.
I forgot about
Kenneth
it.
Murray,
I don't even consider
Queen,
Isaiah Simmons
Zach
an inside
Bond.
linebacker,
Yeah.
and I consider Zach Bond more of an outside edge guy. So here, I think I'm going to throw a lot of people for a loop here, but if I was playing GM, I think I would take Cole Kmet here and be okay with it. Take the best tight end. What do they want to do?
End for him?
Well, they just traded away the guy
Hunter
that
Henry.
they drafted, No, it wasn't Hunter Henry.
Hayden Hurst, sorry.
Hayden Hurst.
The double H's is throwing me for the loop, Jay.
So they have Mark Andrews, who played well, right?
I mean, he was a Pro Bowl guy, yeah. I'd say he played well.
Who do they have? After him, who do they have?
What's his name? Nick Boyle.
Exactly. He's not very good. And
Yeah,
to
he's
me,
okay.
the Ravens want to run the ball and they want to establish the run. Mark Andrews is not a run blocking tight end. He's a pass catching tight end. So why not go get a guy like Cole Kmet where you can run more double tights to be able to run the ball a little bit better, where he can run block and pass and catch. You took Marquise Brown in the first round last year, so you upgrade your wide receiver last year, which they don't even throw the ball that.
They don't throw enough to take a receiver right here.
They're a dominant running team.
Yes.
And I think he only helps them run the football. I think he gives them more matchup problems. And on a team that doesn't really have a lot of holes, where would you have went here?
I probably would have went Kayvon Chaisson. I probably would have went another pass rusher because I don't think the Ravens pass rush is elite. They also lost Michael Pierce. They just tagged, what's his name? Judon. So I don't know if they're going to keep him for much longer. So I think that's their biggest need is pass rush. Other than inside linebacker, but again, no inside linebackers available. All right. Titans at 29. I'm going to go Jalen Johnson, corner from Utah. I think he's the best available corner left right now. We just lost Logan Ryan. Malcolm Butler's coming off, I think, a broken leg or broken arm, whatever it is, but he's only getting older. So we really only have Adoree Jackson right now on the roster who we trust. And I just think he's a good player. I think he'll fit in with what we like to do with how Vrabel runs our team. Jalen Johnson's the pick. He's a big physical corner.
I'm just sitting here thinking about what I'm going to do at 30. I mean, the Packers have their biggest need being inside linebacker, and the two top guys are gone. They have a big need at wide receiver, and a lot of the big-name guys have gone, but you still got Jalen Reagor and T. Higgins sitting there. Mm-hmm. I actually think Marlon Davidson would be a pretty good pick in this defense, or A.J. Epinesa with the defense they like to run. But I just think you got to help Aaron Rodgers out.
Absolutely.
And Devonta Adams can't be your only guy. I'm going to give him the speedy Jalen Reagor, who I called the next Tyreek Hill. I like him a lot.
Yes, you do. It's big praise right there, calling him the next Tyreek Hill.
I believe in the dude.
I know. All right, the 49ers here at 31. I think the 49ers could do a lot here too.
They're probably looking to trade back.
Yeah, because they don't have a lot of picks after this one. I don't think they pick again from round 1 until round 5, I believe it is. You know what? I'm going to go receiver here. I'm going to get more weapons for Jimmy Garoppolo because I like our D-line. I like our linebacking core. I like basically our entire defense, offensive. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to go Josh Jones here.
You lost Emmanuel Sanders in free agency.
I'm going to go Josh Jones, though, because we need a successor for Joe Staley, who's getting old, and I think this is a perfect place for Josh Jones to come in, sit, play in spots where if Joe Staley gets hurt or McGlinchey gets hurt, you can play him at either left or right, or you can bring him in when you go six man, because Kyle likes to run the ball, so get him another offensive line, and Josh Jones still sitting here. I still think he's a good player, so there we go.
There's a lot of good players that are going to be available in round 2 according to this mock. I think that at number 32, Kansas City Chiefs, they could go second best running back. They could take interior offensive line. You still got Kayvon Chaisson and A.J. Epinesa staring you in the face. You got a guy, Neville Gallimore, that I like a lot at defensive tackle. You could pair him next to Chris Jones. But I just think they have a pretty big need at corner, and I think Trayvon Diggs would fit nicely in the secondary. So one of their biggest needs.
They do have a huge need at corner.
I was thinking a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr. here, but they have the Honey Badger there. They would kind of fill the same role.
And they got Juan Thornhill, who played really well last year until he tore his ACL.
Before he got hurt. Yep.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do.
All right,
I'm going to go
fill their corner. I think they obviously need a corner because their pass defense isn't that great.
Not at all.
Yeah. So, and I mean, you got Mahomes, so I think you can do a lot with a little bit of talent in the backfield or at receiver. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, Jay. There's our mock.
There's still some names there.
That's how we would
there.
fill some team. Yeah, like you said, Antoine Winfield Jr. is still sitting out there.
Caleb on AJ Epinesa. Basically all the running backs not named. Jonathan Taylor.
Yep. Austin Jackson.
Grant Delpit.
Yeah. Some good receivers, as you mentioned. T. Higgins is still available. Brandon Ayuk.
Oh,
AJ Terrell from Clemson.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. There you go. There's Jay and I's mock. If you like mock drafts as much as we do, this will be our third one. You can go back and check out any of Jay and I's picks. If just fast forward to your team, if you don't care about any of the other teams, just fast forward and listen to who we have your team mocked to. Drafts on Thursday. I can't wait. It's going to be weird. It's going to be exciting. I think it's probably going to be the most viewed draft in NFL history because people are just dying for sports. I think there was that doc I was just talking about, Jay, the Last Dance. I think the first episode got like 6 million views, and episode 2 had like 5.8. Yeah, so people are just starved for anything sports, man. But from everything I'm reading and listening to, I think I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about the NBA finishing their season, baseball starting up sometime in May. Hopefully the NFL starts just on time, and college football. So, but we'll see, man. Like I said, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic the closer we get, the further down the line, which
I think it's going to happen. I think the season's going to happen.
What do you think about? I'm not talking about just NFL. That's still a while away. We got sporting events that just canceled up in just the middle of the night, basically, in NBA and MLB. I know you don't really care about baseball, but some of us do.
I could give 2 fucks about baseball.
I was just excited to see people throw heaters at the Astros because that was coming.
There's a lot more of that coming.
That was coming hard.
It's over.
Yeah. All right. But anyways, as always, please subscribe to the Unwanted Opinions podcast wherever you get them. Leave a rating, leave a review when you hit that subscribe button. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Overcast app. We're also on YouTube now, so you can check us out there. Just watch our video. We're all audio on that. Jen, I don't record ourselves and put it on there just yet. We're not cool enough. But
not yet.
You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay. Email us, unwantedopinionspodcast@gmail.com if you want to get in contact with us. Questions, comments, whatever. We're here for you guys. So
until next time.
Until next time.